I think when you look at gender equality, or basically gender inequality in Malawi, it doesn't exist in a vacuum. It comes from systems of oppression. And I think one of the systems of oppression that we deal with in Malawi is patriarchy. And patriarchy manifests itself in the structure, culture, and maybe we can say also economical structures that we have in Malawi. So this is what actually forms our policies, our legal frameworks, and it also manifests itself in our culture, how we see women, how the society see women. Basically, that creates hierarchies where women are seen as disposable objects, and this is manifested in issues like cultural practices that Jen has mentioned, harmful cultural practices. We have issues of child marriages. Until recently, I think the policy was that a 13-year-old girl can still get married in Malawi until like 2015, where the Marriage Divorce Act came into play, where it actually lays the marriage age to 16, and yeah, with parental consent, and 18. And when you see the work that Open Arms is doing, is actually shift some of those norms that women, working with vulnerable women, women that are usually overlooked, sidelined, marginalized. So bringing these women and say this is will be our focus. I think that's incredible work that Open Arms is doing in Malawi, because when you look at orphans, uh, vulnerable women, widows, they really they face multiple compounding marginalization, and Open Arms is saying no, this is what we'll focus on. We'll try to elevate these women for people to be able to see them as equals in the society.
Where we are concerned directly for Open Arms is that our program is empowering women to maybe grow their own food. So providing the implementation things that they need, including providing seed, which can be difficult in our setting for someone to access proper seed, certified seed, and we're doing that. So that will empower the women that are going to look after our babies to be self-sufficient where food is concerned, but also empowering them to have something like animals, livestock, so chickens and goats. They can sell these goats for money and run their families, and also they can use the animals for feeding their families. And this is quite important because we need to empower the women that are going to look after those babies to make sure that they're self-sufficient in food. At the moment, the situation is tough in Malawi because we haven't really had good crop yields in the last 3 years, and this year is particularly probably the worst we've ever seen in a long time, in the sense that a bag of maize became impossible to buy for most people. I think it went as far as 100,000 kwacha per bag, yet the minimum wage for a big proportion of the population in Malawi is 90,000. So if we say they ought to pay rent, they ought to pay for water, and their firewood, then it's been impossible for most families to actually survive. When I went to Malawi for 2 weeks in the last earlier this month, and then people were actually buying maize bran for food. And that's almost like just having dust, sawdust, essentially, with no nutrition whatsoever. So I think our program, by empowering those women that are going to look after our babies, to give them food and to give them the capacity to grow their own food and maybe have livestock, is actually going to be what will succeed in this program. As I said, the main caregivers in Malawi are women, but they do not have the financial muscle. They do not have the financial decision making for the families. If we empower them, if we target them to give them what they need to accept those babies that they are related to, whose mothers have died or otherwise, then I think we'll succeed. This program will succeed. We can grow.
I think most of the societies, if you ask me, are patriarchal, and that means they really do not accept gender equality. In most societies, when you go, they will tell you, the gender equality, you can go and do it in your office. Here, a woman is supposed to cook, a woman is supposed to take care of children, a woman is supposed to do this and that, and a girl is supposed to do this and that. So I think basically it's all about awareness of what a woman is supposed to do. We're not saying a woman is not supposed to work in the household, but reducing that time poverty, because the amount of time spent on these chores does not give this woman opportunities to go and seek for employment or to do productive work that will provide income.
In terms of at a very local level, if we're talking of within the villages, I think to deliberately put in systems where a woman is given the resources that she needs, particularly to grow food herself, and also to have livestock, probably at that level, at village level, to ensure that that woman has the decision making herself, and also to actually have ownership. I think we should encourage those programs that give that woman the resources that she needs, without her waiting for the male members of her family.
In Malawi, with the policies that we have, having policies does not guarantee that lives of women and girls will be affirmed. There have to be some sort of accountability from policyholders, from duty bearers, and it's our job as feminist leaders or women rights activists, advocates, to actually go and keep holding the space for other women that maybe do not have the same platforms as we do, and just hold policymakers accountable. Make sure resources are allocated to end gender-based violence, to afford women opportunities. And this work, it's really, really important if we are really going to accelerate gender equality in Malawi.